today. This is the one and only Lady Shaunte Garrett. Welcome to the Wake Up Morning Show.
Hello, praise the Lord.
Praise Him.
Did you just go praise him,
Uh,
Lord
Praise
Jesus?
Him. Good morning.
Good
Good morning
morning.
to you. Good morning to you. One of the things that we have to say is that I don't think that you would have ever thought that you would be referred to as one of the legends in the gospel
Yes,
No,
radio
no, that made
industry.
me sound old. That
Uh,
made me sound old.
oh no, that's not
you
old.
sound
That's
accomplished.
seasoned, and that you have been doing it for quite some time.
Hmm
Let's just talk about that. This is something that's very very unique because I remember meeting you at KPRZ back in the day when you were just interning and bringing coffee and setting things in motion.
Yes.
And now today, fast forward, you are in Nashville. I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'm going to let
Right.
you tell some of the story. But let's just start off from the beginning. Who you are, who your people is, where you're from.
All right. Well, thank you both for having me. I'm truly honored and grateful, and just excited about what you all are doing, continuing gospel music there in San Diego and keeping it alive and well and thriving and nominated for a Stellar Award. So that's amazing. So just congratulations on everything that you all are doing. And yeah, I'm honored to be here today. And you're right, Leonard. I remember that. So it kind of started for me when I was in college, and I'm gonna make a long story kind of short. In college there in San Diego, and I got a internship with Preacher Man. Everybody knows Preacher Man. Now that's a legend, okay?
hmm
In radio there in San Diego, he was working with KPRZ, and you're right. I just kind of started off coming in. I was actually um, going to school for television, and I just kind of felt like radio and TV kind of go hand in hand. So I took the internship, and I had really no interest per se in radio. It was more for TV. I was just trying to get my foot in the door, and so started the internship and just serving. Keyword to everybody listening who want to do something. I was just serving, getting coffee, bringing donuts, and then it just kind of start snowballing little by little. He started to let me read announcements every now and then and maybe announce a song. And it was only once a week, so it wasn't something we were even doing every day. And then I remember asking because at that time it was Preacher Man, Larry Preacher Man Thompson. It was Betty Jean, the Queen,
hmm
and Walter Cole, Cookie Man. And so I told him, I said, well, everybody has a radio name except me. I'm just like, Shaunte, it's so basic, right?
Right.
And he was like, you want a radio name? I said, yeah. He said, we're going to put it out to the audience and we're going to let them pick it. I'm like, okay. So maybe about a month or so, a few weeks, he said, y'all, Shaunte want a radio name. What should it be? And so I don't know if y'all remember that. So people would
Mhm.
call in with different names and somebody said Radio Roost and all kind of stuff. I'm like, no. And then somebody called and said, what about Lady Shaunte? And so the ones that were kind of good, he would write them down. And somebody said, what about Lady Shaunte? And he was like, okay. So he wrote that down. So his wife, Joanne, my friend, she called and she said, I like Lady Shaunte,
Mhm.
So the next week was like the unveiling of the name, right? And so he said, okay, today we're going to, discover what Shantae's radio name is. And he said Lady Shaunte. And that's how that name actually started. And, again, it just kind of progressed from there. He was on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights at like midnight. And
Mhm.
so it kind of moved to the point where when he would be gone, or I would come up there on Wednesday nights sometimes just to have hands on and practice. And then when he would be out, he would let me fill in. And then I started doing more on Sunday morning. And then we partnered with Dr. Late Great Dr. Timothy Winters of the Bayview Church,
hmm
and he and Preacher Man collaborated and came together with the Soul of San Diego, which was a 24-hour gospel radio station in San Diego, which had never been done. which it was actually a really great accomplishment because first of all, the gospel black community in San Diego, as we know, is I think 6%. Well, I
Yep.
won't say the gospel black community in San Diego is maybe about 6%. So the
Yep.
gospel community even smaller than that. So to start something that big in a community like that was like you had to have huge vision, And so they started that. So I went from just kind of filling in for Preach Man to having my own midday show 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, which when I look back on it, I like that was a lot,
Hmm.
Yeah.
every day. And, I was just very blessed to have the San Diego community embrace me like you all and so many other wonderful people. And I just, hindsight is always 2020. So when you look back on things like, wow, something special really happened during there. You don't really know it in the moment,
Hmm.
but something really special happened in that season. And again, things just began to snowball. I started winning local awards. I remember being nominated for a Newsom Award, which they were holding in New York,
Hmm.
and the community came together. Oh, I could just cry thinking about it. The community came together and did a fundraiser
A
for
musical.
me, and I was able to go to New York, all expenses paid,
Hmm.
and don't have to worry about anything. And I didn't win, but I met some amazing people. I met my mentor right now, Tracy Morgan, who
Hmm.
is absolutely a legend. She's a Stellar Award winner, broadcast Hall of Famer. She's a syndicated radio host out of Maryland. I met her there, and she has helped to push my career to where it is now. Went on to 2009, where I was nominated for a Stellar Award myself, and ended up winning, which
Hmm.
was a blessing. I was able to come back and celebrate with my San Diego community and lots of things in between, trying to make a long story short. But God has been faithful in something that I never saw. But you know what? The funny thing about this is, Leonard and Earl, is that maybe last year, because I live in Nashville, Tennessee now, obviously, my mother found a cassette tape. Y'all remember those?
Hmm.
Yes.
Cassette tape from when I was 8 years old. And I remember doing it. And I actually did a whole radio, well, like a whole church service, like I was on the radio on that cassette tape. So I was like, now we're going to listen to such and such. And then I would be the choir, I would sing the background and the lead, right? And then I would read a scripture. And now we're going to do, and then, well, thank y'all for joining us. And that's all. I mean, like it was a whole program by myself. And I was like, I was on the radio back then.
Hmm.
And so God just kind of showed me that was in me, for a long time. I just didn't know it. And so He's faithful. He knows how to get us to where we're supposed to be when we surrender to Him, because I haven't always been surrendered, but when I did, He put me on the path that I was supposed to be on. And we're still going. So, yeah, that's the short version.
Well, I'm gonna let Earl, because Earl spent a tremendous amount of time with you. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back because I'm in that older category at this point.
Hmm.
But way back then, was you doing something with barbering at some cutting hair or something?
Yeah, yeah, all that. I was still in school, so I was in school and I was doing hair. I had my hair license I had my hair license, so I was doing that on the side, and I was doing radio on Sunday or interning for radio on Sunday with the school. So yeah, I was doing that, and I want to say this because I never forget. I remember when I met you at I went at your office for some reason, and I guess you were giving me advice or whatever, and you was like, and make sure you don't have none of that stuff under your eyebrows. Basically, like make sure your eyebrows are arched at all times. Yes,
Right.
sir. So I remember that. So I've always kept my eyebrows clean and arched since that meeting. Thank you so much, Leonard. So
Right.
yes, I was cutting hair and doing and working at restaurants, Kenny B's.
Mhm.
You in college, so you know what you have to do. So yes,
And you're originally from the Bay Area?
Yep.
yes,
All right.
Oakland. Yes,
So
Church
sir.
Church of God in
yeah,
Christ girl.
so
Absolutely.
there's a hustle in
Yes.
coming, and one of the things that both Robert and I always talk about is how you invested in yourself,
Oh yes.
that you never waited for someone to just give you something. God blessed you with a lot of things, but literally we would watch you go up and down the highway being active, being involved, and immersing yourself in the community while working a couple of jobs, while being on the air, while
Mm-hmm.
being a friend and a mentor and a teacher and all the things. And I think that a lot of people look at you today and realize that um, you were kind of like the example of that superwoman that was not going to take no for an answer, but you were going to press through, but you were going to do the work to get where you are. And so we appreciate you because that is an example that our young people need to consistently see.
Well, thank you. I definitely never considered being a superwoman, but you're right. Coming from Oakland, the Bay Area, there is a hustle that comes with that. And I remember when I moved to San Diego, it was just so different, and I didn't understand. Like, like in Oakland, like, if our church choir is singing at another church, like we go. If they go into another city, like we go there. Like we move differently. And so that was in me to do. So when I found out about the Southern California Gospel Announcers Guild,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that's LA. It's just 2 hours, I'll go. So, I just started going, met some amazing people, Brother Steve, Bishop
Wells.
Wells,
Mm-hmm.
everybody up there, and, travel to the Stellar Awards. I mean, just, yeah, like you're part of it now. So you want to immerse yourself in it and be around like minded people. And I think that's with anything that you want to be good or great at, or if you're passionate about, it has to be more than just you showing up that day. You got to bring something with you. So those things I definitely think help develop me. And absolutely, I would tell any young person or old person trying to get into a new field, find the networks and the community that surround that field and get plugged in. Relationships are important to your success. It just is. I mean, you can have a lot of talent and all of that, but it's going to be those relationships that's going to help propel you. So, being able to build those relationships, which a lot of those friends I still have today, like you all, has been amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a blessing too because I always would just be like, she is going to everything, and she would not. I repeat, would not wait for anybody to
Um,
do it for her because I was tagging along with her on those Tuesday nights, going to LA. We're getting back at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm having to go to work, and she have to go to the radio station. And I didn't know it then, but God was preparing me for what I'm doing now. I
wow.
have a degree in mass communication, TV, and radio from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, but I didn't know that I'll be doing this because I wanted to do the promoting thing, which I was doing,
Yeah.
but the radio thing was always maybe a dream. And I remember Superintendent Sidney Bugs told me, "I'll invest in you if you get on radio with Dr. Winter's show and Preacher Man show." And I was like, "Yeah, right," because I wasn't really interested in that. I want to do the promoting concert stuff. And now, years later, look where God has placed me. But she was a major, I repeat, a major influence in my life. And we served at the same church, New Creation Church. Pastor Gary was the pastor at the time. And so I had a chance to become brother and sister with her. She's very close to me. When she moved to Nashville, I said, "Oh, Lord, what are we going to do without my mighty good day?" Um, but God has kept us in contact. And look at you now. You're even an author, and you're even
Oh,
an entrepreneur. Let's talk about the author part, and then we go to the entrepreneur with the travel stuff.
okay. Well, yes. So, outside of what I was doing on radio with the Soul of San Diego, I also worked for Donnie McClurkin radio show. So I've been a
Mm-hmm.
writer for his show for years up until now. And, at the end of his show, we do a little personal note, and it's just him kind of, basically reading what has been written, but putting his little spin on it. But it's a little personal note, just kind of like a heartfelt message. And so I was thinking, like, I can do that for myself. Like, I'm writing these personal notes for him. I
Right.
can write these for myself. So I was actually still in San Diego when that happened. It was a devotional book. It's called Speak to Your Life. And it was kind of something I did in the spare time. I look back at it now, like, oh, it could have been better. But it was just, I like to do stuff. So I just tried it. And I got with Miss Angela Nixon there in San Diego. So I had a different theme
Mm-hmm.
for every month.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just had a little. affirmation for every day. And, self-published it, got it printed, and, people still ask for that book today. I need to get more printed, but I may do something in the future. But that's how that came about in San Diego again. Came out, and we were at Stockdale. What was the restaurant? Maybe that was the name of it, Stockdale's restaurant. He allowed me to do my book signing there, and everybody came out and supported. So I always appreciate my San Diego family so much. And yeah, so when I moved to Nashville outside of radio, and what I was doing with the Donna McClurkin show, a friend of mine who's also in the music industry introduced me to the industry of travel. I never realized, or yeah, I guess I never really recognized about the revenue that could be generated within the travel industry by being a business owner.
Hmm.
I've always just worked for other people, been a talent, but not necessarily, a boss like Leonard. So she introduced me to the world of entrepreneurship, and it's been absolutely amazing. Travel's a $8 trillion industry, so now I have access to all of those things, so I can get paid for what people are doing anyway, help people travel better for less, and help them do the same thing. Should they be looking for ways to exercise their entrepreneur rights as well. So I love having a plan B. I love having multiple streams of income. I'm all about that. I recommend that to anybody.
Hmm.
And, it's something that you learn. You don't come in knowing everything. You, again, immerse yourself in a community, get an mentorship, and, make it work. And so that's what I've been able to do with um, my company. I now have a team of about 300 travel professionals under me.
Wow.
People are able to make residual income and travel the world better for less. So it's really fun helping people to grow in that area, and me continuing to grow as well, and being able to write my own ticket, because I love radio, but I want to be able to do radio because I want to, not because I have to.
Right.
And so it's important to be be working on that plan B for me. So that's how that came about, and international, and I'm excited about that too.
Well, I have a question for you, and you know how they say, "Oh, that person has a face for radio," but
Yeah.
when we see you, we see you having a face for advertisement,
Hmm.
TV, cover of magazines.
Hmm.
Tell me what are the next steps in your career? Because you know, I don't see you at your pinnacle. I really see you as um, there are levels, and there's getting ready to be a new level that's coming. So tell me, what's your next step that you actually
Hmm.
see? Are we seeing a TV show? Or are we? Well, what are we seeing?
Well, first of all, I received that. Okay. Secondly, actually, yes. So there is a YouTube channel that I am starting, and it is called Lady Shaunte Presents Radio to Life. So I actually just got finished with the design on Friday,
Okay.
and so that will be rolling out this July now. Yes, this month, and we'll have content for that, and it's going to be pretty cool. But like in terms of like terrestrial TV, there's some things I have done, some local commercials and things like that. I would love to do more. So anybody listening, give me a call.
But
But I don't have like major plans for like a national TV show as of right now. But I'm definitely open because I agree with you. I believe that God has more. And I believe that, He meets us where we are. And I can be honest, when I moved to Nashville, it was great, but it was pretty overwhelming. I cried quite a bit. Not because I didn't want to be here. It was just everything was new. And I had to start completely over
Hmm.
with nothing,
Hmm.
and it was just overwhelming. And so I was just kind of missing people and missing the familiarity of things and people, and having to find a new church, new friends, and
Hmm.
learn. It was just very overwhelming. So had that been presented to me at that time, I probably would have not been ready. But God is good. He's faithful. He's a good father, and He knows how to get us to where we need to be when we need to be there. So I'm definitely open to those opportunities and exploring those things. I do have a agent that books me for commercials. But yeah, that's where we are. Radio to Life is coming really soon.
Well, I just got, and it's Robert's fault. I just started getting hooked on Kingdom Business. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And
okay.
they had some young lady be like a reporter on there, and I was like, no, they need Lady Shaunte to come on. So Kirk, if you're listening, all you producers over there, y'all better get that cameo going on there for Lady
Right.
Shaunte. Then you get that real authentic interview. We gonna keep on pushing because no matter how you look at it, you originated in the Bay Area.
Right.
You matriculated to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
You got all your fans and friends and family here, and
Yes.
then you elevated to Nashville. And we still claim, how people be like saying, I remember when that's my homegirl from the community because everybody gonna claim you now.
Right.
But the biggest thing that we want you to know that um, your support system is beyond just where your city
You're
is.
right.
Your support system is
Oh,
worldwide, and we want to continue for people to see, especially in San Diego, us loving on you, but also us showing you the same support that everywhere we go,
Yes.
everywhere we go, if we see each other, we connect with each other. And that's what's so important, that you didn't leave us. You kept your same
Yes, you
connections
did.
and you elevated. And so we never, ever stop being connected. And that's what I love about you. Some people leave a city and they be like, oh, I'm from Nashville now. And you like said, oh, no, let me talk about like every place I've been.
Right. Right. She still keeps the
Yeah.
connection, and I think that's very, very important. Let's talk about your childhood. You grew up in the Bay Area. You are a sanctified child. Let's talk about growing up in that Pentecostal and everything.
And what church do you go to?
Ernest in Cleveland.
yeah, yep. Yep. So from the Bay Area, definitely grew up Kojic. Went to Center of Hope under Ernestine
The
Cleveland
legend.
Ream.
The legend.
Yes, you know, children's church and choir and Sunday school and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. Um, yeah, I'm so thankful and grateful for that foundation. And again, hindsight is 2020. You don't always know what you have when you have it,
Mm-hmm.
and what's being cultivated or what's happening in a moment. But I look back and just see, you know, because I was a child, growing up, it was just church to me. But as an adult, looking back on who she was and what she brought to the kingdom, like, oh, I was under something for real.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful for my mom, bringing me up in that. And, I remember shut-ins. I remember, you know, being with my mom at church overnight, sleeping on the pews
Yes.
and just, you know, praying and praising all night long. They give you a few minutes to close your eyes and you get back up with the music.
Yes.
So all of those seeds have been planted. And even though I had my time of being wayward, which I'm very transparent about, those seeds always had me anchored. Never go too far,
Right.
and knowing that there was always an answer, that there was somewhere I could turn to, even when I wasn't, necessarily walking in the right direction. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful for that. And when I was talking about earlier about how when we would be at church, we would go to other churches, we would do other things. Like that's where that came from,
Mm-hmm.
being a part of her church and a couple of other churches up there as well. Like you move around, you don't stay just at your church with your church. Like your church goes to other churches. You network really. Even as a church, and so those things were put in me at a very young age. And she was just an amazing example of a godly woman. She was a woman of prayer and fasting. And I want to say she probably fasted every week for
Mm-hmm.
real,
Mm-hmm.
and she poured that out into us. And so I wish that every child would be able to grow up under a strong foundation. It's just important for that to be put in us at a young age, because there's certain things you won't do
Mm-hmm.
because you know better. You have an insight. You have the knowledge of something, and that there's a fear of God that's been put in you
Mm-hmm.
because of it. But yeah, growing up in Oakland was well, the Bay Area, because it's all connected, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I look back and I just I'm thankful for my friends and my family and the community and the environment that created in me, that I'm able to connect with people of all races and ethnicities, because the Bay Area was also very diverse
Hmm.
as well. And being able to bring those skills to where I am now, where you have to network and relate to a lot of different people. I think those things have helped. But yeah, I still call Oakland home. I still look forward to going back every year. I'm coming to San Diego and having one of my birthday parties, because I have been celebrating my birthday all year long.
Amen.
And
Amen.
I'm just always going to call California home. I mean, it just is what it is. So I'm very grateful.
So I'm gonna say this because I went to school up in the Bay Area and got
Oh,
to be there for 6 years. And I always would tell people there was a different hustle in the Bay Area. As
Hmm.
a musician, if you came to the studio and you were a minute late, they had already another musician already there taking your place, and you
yeah.
you didn't have time to play around. So you had to be early just so you wouldn't lose your spot because there was so much talent that was in the Bay Area. I remember leaving college on a Saturday evening. Everybody said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to a concert." They said, "Where at?" I said, "I don't know. I'm gonna drive around until I see what church has it,"
Hmm.
because there was always music going somewhere in the city, and it was just so much talent and so much anointing that was up there that even when I became youth pastor of Mingleton Temple, it was really like wow, because I felt like I was at home growing up in Kojic, and the things that we would do. We had a relationship because we were a touring choir, so we would come up to the Bay Area to do concerts. They would come down to us, and so I already had some pre-relationships. But
Hmm.
one of the things that hurts me now is that there's no more merits. You know, where we used to go
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all the
yeah.
church
Mary
folks would
Bakery.
get together, and
Yeah,
that was like Bob Big Boys out here.
Yes.
It was
Or
merits,
Keith's.
yeah, or
yeah,
Keith's,
Hmm.
yeah.
and then um, I can't remember, but is Reed's record store still there? Is Reed's gone?
Well, I have
I
no
think Reed's is
idea.
still open. I
Okay,
think Reed's is still open.
but there's so many
They were
things that
famous.
yeah that are
Yeah.
gone that we grew up with and just in my time. But the
Mhm.
one thing about Oakland, it is this had so much culture. And I lived after getting my own apartment. I actually lived on East 14th Street in Fruitville.
Okay.
So
Wow.
and everybody
You was in
said,
the heart.
yeah, and everybody's like, well, you are. I said my church was on 12th downtown. I said that's my city, and I never paid attention to the correlation. But when you go to the Oakland Hills, you go up the hills, and you go, and then when you come down, it's a different city. Same way
Mhm.
when you go to Oak Park in the Oak Park Hills,
Hmm.
and you come down, it's a different between going up
Wow.
and going down.
Wow.
So it was just a really a blessed time in Oakland. So knowing that that was where you originated, I know that they made whole songs about Oakland girls. You know what I'm saying? And Oakland hustle and everything else that nature. So taking what you've learned from Oakland to San Diego to now Nashville, how are you now seeding into the next generation? Because I know there's a little grown young lady by the name of Air Meek
Right.
that you
I was
had an
thinking of her. I
amazing
was thinking of her.
impact on.
I was thinking of her.
How many of the other many young ladies are you mentoring, teaching, and encouraging at this time?
Mhm. Yes, Meek is my baby. I'm so proud of her now. She
Hmm.
has a heart for social justice,
Yes.
and she has moved to Baltimore and is working with the police department there. And I'm just so godly proud of her and her progress. And she's been through a lot, and just a strong, beautiful young
Yes, she
lady.
is.
And yes, that is very important. I have another young lady right now, Brandy Johnson. We call her Miss Brandy J, who I've been working with for quite a few years now. Recently brought her on my radio staff as well, and she's hosting events and getting out there and uh, you know tailoring her craft as well. And so it is very important to do that, because that's how God has it set up. You
That's
know,
right.
He doesn't give us things for us; He gives us things for other people. I have two other young ladies as well that I'm working with, that I brought on as staff with the radio station who haven't done radio before. You know, but I also think it's important for us to give back. But I really want to say this really quick that, I think it's important for, again, any genre, but we're talking about radio, like, you really have to understand about, I would say, serving and respect. Like those things can get you a lot farther than your talent,
That's
right?
right.
So
That's
you have
right.
to come in with the idea like, I'm going to serve. It's not about me trying to get to where I'm at. I'm coming in to serve, and I'm going to respect the person who opened the door for me.
Come on.
Like that's really important. And sometimes you try to help people and they don't have that mindset, so it's a little hard.
Hmm.
It's still doable, but we all want to work with people who are grateful.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Everybody wants to work with people who embrace the opportunities that you give them. So I think that's I just want to leave that with, someone who might be going into a new venture, a new industry, or a new field. You know, look at areas that you can serve in,
Hmm.
because serving actually is going to build up the respect for you in the eyes of the people that you're serving.
That's
They're
right.
going to see you. That's how you build your value, right? Because you're not just there for a position
Hmm.
or for a check. Like you actually have a heart for that company or for whatever it is that you're doing, and that's how you show that because you're willing to serve,
Yes.
and your gift will make room for you.
Every time.
It will. You don't have to kick down doors.
Hmm.
You do your part, right? You pursue and show up, but you don't have to kick down doors. When
Hmm.
you serve
Hmm.
and you respect the people who open the doors for
Yes.
you, doors will open.
Hmm.
They will, and people are happy to do things for you because they know they see your heart. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And so I look for that in people who say they want to, try radio or can you help me do this? And so I'm happy to help anybody. But in terms of being able to identify people who can go further than what they think or where they may be, those are the things that I look for in mentees because that's what's going to take you further than your talent or your looks
Right.
or your goals.
Right.
So I really hope people can embrace that, no matter how old you are. You starting something new, you're new, okay, and just remember
Right.
that,
Right.
and don't try to kick the door down. You don't have to. Just serve, respect the person who's opened the door for you, and God will do the rest.
Well, my last question is simply this. As you have grown and you have become a leader in this industry,
Hmm.
I just want to ask the question: how do you keep your skin so flawless? What is your beauty regiment?
Coconut oil. That's it. And it's $6.75. It's nothing extra.
Right.
Water. I drink a lot of water. But thank you for that. But yeah, I drink a lot of water and I use coconut oils. There's
All right,
nothing
Clint, I'm
fancy
gonna
at
slather some on my
Right.
face.
So in Nashville, what is your title and your position at the radio station? Because I think it's radio stations now with the S.
Yeah, so we are on AM and FM now, 790 AM and 104.9 FM, the gospel. I'm still on air middays, but I'm also station manager at our radio station right now. So we're looking forward to even some more bigger transitions in the near future. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So
Now,
she's making moves.
Yeah.
watch this. Now, are we seeing in the future from manager to owner?
Well, I don't know about that, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even going to front. I don't know.
Right. Right.
Amen.
That's not necessarily that's not where I'm at right now in my
Okay.
mind.
Right.
Okay.
But if that's what God says, I will go. He
Oh,
says, "See, I will go," but that's
And
not necessarily a desire.
and she's had a great opportunity to work with one of the biggest legends in gospel music and any music. When you say the name CC Winan, everybody's heads turn. How did that come about? You first working for her in some of her promotions, marketing, etc., to you becoming like a member of her church and all that good stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, so I knew her through radio. I've interviewed her several times, even there in San Diego. And the funniest thing is, before I moved to Nashville, I had a dream about her.
Wow.
And I mean, I knew her, but not like pick up the phone and call her, just randomly know her. And I had a dream, and I remember we were walking in a forest with all these trees, and it was like we were best friends, and we were just talking. I was like, "Oh, how, Andy?" Like we were just talking, like we really, really were close. And I
Hmm.
woke up, I was like, "Wow," it was just, And so when I moved to Nashville, I got invited to a VIP event with her, where she was raising money for um, her then conference, Always Sisters. It was a conference for young ladies,
Hmm.
and we kind of connected there, and then I got invited to the next thing, and then she started a church, and I was looking for. I hadn't joined a church yet, so I was looking for a church, and I wanted something different. And I kind of wanted. I didn't really want the traditional route anymore, and so um, the church started in March, and I believe I joined in May. So it was like right at the beginning where there was like 20 of us and a keyboard. And so she and I just, got closer. I started doing the voiceovers for her commercials for Always Sisters, and going to her conferences. And she's been an amazing woman of God, mentor, second mother to me. I love her so much because what you see on TV, what you hear on the radio is who she is.
Hmm.
It's exactly who she is. A woman of integrity. She stands on holiness uh, with no compromise. And I love that about her.
Hmm.
And just so humble and sweet, and is happy to pour into others. And so we've been very close ever since. I've been a part of her leadership group for about 4 years. And then we kind of changed some things. And I mean, she's been to my house. I've been to her house. She's been to my birthday parties. I was at her daughter's wedding. I mean, we're close, and I'm just so grateful for her influence in my life, especially not just because she's a woman of God and a pastor, but as somebody in this industry.
Hmm.
Because we know it can be kind of crazy.
Hmm.
So having a strong example like that in this industry, I thank God for her every day. And I'm a dreamer, and so I remember God giving me a dream once I joined that church of her and her husband, and I was in a closet with her husband. It was all these clothes. And then in the other part of the dream, I was with her. She had on this bright yellow. And so I have like a little dream book that interprets things according to the scripture. And so I looked in the book. I'm like, what does that mean? So the closet meant, the clothes meant covering, like he was your covering, right? And the yellow for her, when I read it, it meant gift. And I said, absolutely, she has been a gift to me. And so I'm just honored, honestly, to be able to, walk, um, that she's been able to walk through life with me and just be there for me in some really tough times. And me for her as well, and so many others that she, has brought under her wing.
Hmm.
Definitely not just me, but I'm
Okay.
just talking about my personal experience with
Right.
her. So I'm just honored to have her in my life, and excited about how she continues to reinvent herself. I've told her not too long ago. I said it's almost like you're a new artist.
Right.
Just the way that she don't miss. She she releases the album, it's gonna be number one. I mean,
Yeah.
but she's submitted to God in
Yes.
every area, and I love that about her. So yeah, she's a
Well,
gift.
lots of people are tuned in.
A lot.
Evangel says, blessings unto you, Lady Shaunte Garrett, and congratulations on all your success.
Preacher man sent his love in a text. Preacher man was one.
Yeah, and then you have Onaje said, it's a mighty good day. Hey, Lady
Linda
Shaunte.
McQuarrie.
Yes, she said that Brother McCary used to always talk about you, and so Linda McQuarrie is on. Francine Maxwell said, "Big up to New Creation Church San Diego. It's been a journey, you know." So,
Oh, thank
your I think it's your cousin Beverly Washington.
you. Yes.
She's on
Yes,
here.
yeah.
Hey,
So
Beverly.
yeah,
Wow.
so you have a lot of people that are just tuning in, and Onaje's like, oh, Lady Shantae would crush TV. So you got all this they were talking about Reed's Records and
Yes.
everything like that. So, and even Linda Pringle is on, you
Keith
know.
Pringle's
Oh
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
So a lot of people are
Oh,
tuned
that's
in
so.
just to send you their love.
Yes.
We know, and we said that when you come to San Diego, give us our opportunity to spoil you. We want to see you, have fun with you.
We're gonna do
Now,
her party.
yeah, I know that. I know
Her.
that there's going to be the large gathering, but we're going to be selfish and get an intimate gathering first before we let
Oh.
everybody come, because we won't even get a chance to talk to her if everybody come, right? So
Oh.
we're gonna get your schedule,
Yes.
and know what your availability is, so that we can have what we call the community gathering for you, and then that private gathering with us folks that just want to just holler at you without all your supporters out.
Yes. And and I look at our picture with me, you, and Chris White. We were at Don's and Alvin's house, remember, for a get together. I look at that
Brad.
picture quite
Oh
often
yeah.
too.
So
Yes.
we're gonna say this because we can talk to you all day long. We really wanted to celebrate you
Yes.
and let San Diego know that you are still
And the
us and we
world.
are still you, and the world to know that the family is consistently growing and we're spreading out. And we always want people to know that how we rock with each other is going to always be genuine. It's never going to be, it's like I always used to laugh because you and Walter Cole got a special relationship, and Walter was like,
Brother.
I'm going to call Lady Shaunte, and it's so funny because, you know, it's been a minute. You understand what I'm saying? We've
Yeah.
been, next year will be our 30th year in the record business. And I'm like sitting up here like, I was 29 years old when we started this, and now look at us now, and we are still going forth doing what we do. And so we're so proud of you because you're still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it got to be, it's been at least 20 years, right? That you've been in the
Yes.
industry?
Nashville. Oh,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
movie.
Well, yes, yes,
and
yes.
and and that's just a phenomenal for where you started
I
Mm-hmm.
know.
to
I
now,
know.
to
I
being
know.
like, we see you on the big shows, we see you
Awards. She's on
hosting it.
Essence. She's in
Yeah,
Essence
yeah,
magazine.
yeah.
All that good
We see
stuff.
all this, and we're like sitting up there like, when God gives you a vision,
Come on.
He will give you the
He's so
provision.
faithful.
And because you were not afraid of getting out of your comfort zone, and even if you were afraid, you did not let that limit you,
Hmm.
but you kept going. And so I celebrate you.
And she
Robert
and she has
celebrates you.
integrity. And she has a good name in the industry. You young people, that's a strong thing. When you're doing things for Jesus Christ, you have to have integrity. You got to have morals, and you got to represent Christ the right way. God is coming back soon. He ain't for no foolishness.
Amen.
Man, and you can't
So
be scared. You gotta go.
yeah,
Like even moving to Nashville, like I said, I wanted to do was very scary, and I was like, well, I'm gonna look at it like this. What's the worst that can happen?
hmm
If it don't work, I'll come back to San Diego.
Right.
So you gotta move past fear as well, because sometimes that can hold us back from the things that God, wants to do in our lives.
Right.
And so I thank y'all so much. That's so kind
I'm
and
gonna
so
tease you.
sweet.
Did you find any roll tacos in Nashville?
Uh, no, well, I'm not a big Mexican food fan anyway.
Okay, okay,
I'm missing seafood because we don't get that in Tennessee.
okay.
Somebody tried to point me to Joe's Crab Shack, and I'm like, that's not seafood. I'm sorry. So I definitely got to come back to San Diego.
And
Oh,
Oakland is
so
seafood too.
so
That Bay
so
Area
so we know
seafood.
exactly what to do
Yes,
with her when she come
yes,
back.
I'm
We
seafood
we
all
we,
A
we,
day.
we
boil, a big
yeah.
fish boil
This
for a
is
birthday.
this all of
Seafood.
it.
Or what do you call it? Seafood
So,
boil.
yeah.
Seafood boil.
Yes,
Yeah, fish bowl.
crab.
I mean fish boil. Seafood boil, y'all. Because people know I love seafood
Yeah.
boils.
Yes, seafood is my thing. But yeah, I mean, and again, going back to the, not taking things for granted. When I lived there, I never realized how beautiful San Diego was until I came back to visit one time, and I was like, my God, it's like paradise. These palm trees and
Yes.
clear blue sky. I just, the beach. Like I would pay to go to the beach now,
Right.
but just not realizing and again taking
Right.
for granted what's right in front of me. But I don't do that anymore.
Right. Right.
We're gonna give you the final word,
Yeah.
but I have to say, Onaje was like, boo,
Boo.
no
Not a Mexican
Mexican
food.
food. He said, shame.
Right.
Only Onaje.
Right.
Yeah,
DJ
DJ
Juice.
Juice. Go
Yeah.
Juice.
juice.
Juice for
Yes,
Jesus.
juice.
So you have the final word.
Well, again, I just can't say thank you enough to both of you for thinking of me and bringing me on. And I appreciate it so much. Thank you for all the love over the years. And again, just looking back, something really special happened in San Diego during that season. And I just commend all of you for keeping it going. Even, Preacher Man, I know he has a successful radio show that he does as
Hmm.
well, and Walter and Evangel. And I just love you all so much for what you've done for me and the way that you supported me and all the things that we went through
Yes.
when it came to trying to keep gospel radio alive there in San Diego was not easy.
Mm-mm.
But God, used it, for all of our good and for his glory. And
Yes.
so I just want to thank you all for, still caring about me. I'm definitely going to come back and celebrate one of my birthdays there. And I'm so proud of what you all are doing. Stellar nomination. That's amazing.
Thank you so
I
much.
mean, God is just good. He's faithful. And I'm always going to be your sister. I'm always going to be your friend. And I can't wait for you all to come to Nashville for the Dove Awards because
Yep.
we are planning
Since
September.
September, we'll be
other,
there.
yep, some other events as well. And so I'm humbled and I'm honored. And thank you all so very much. And thank you, Preacher Man. I love you so much. Thank you for giving me an opportunity and believing in me and opening the door. And thank you so much, you and Joanne and your entire family.
Hmm.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you.
With that being said, Robert O'Dean, I think that we have to close out the whole entire show today with one of her mentors and one of my favorite songs, Alabaster Box, by
Oh,
none other than Miss CC Winer.
Yes.